Here we go.
Welcome back.
Welcome to Fireside. This is episode 56 of the premier tattoo improvement podcast in all of the U.S. and A.
And we want to thank you for that.
And yeah, it's all due to your support. You. Man, I had fun on last week's episode.
Yeah, it was a really nice one. Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely. Comic artists are always fun to talk to. Well,
they are.
Just that, but
Yeah.
I love comics, and I love just being able to kind of,
To talk.
Yeah, to see how how they really lay their stuff out too, and how they really approach their work, and what kind of timeline they have.
Yeah, it's funny they had so many of the same kind of challenges and stuff that we do as far as dealing with, writers and or us dealing with clients and a lot of the same similarities. It was funny how there were so many parallels, probably way more than we even got into. I'd love to do another episode with those guys because there were probably no less than 6 or 8 times that I wanted to like interrupt and go, oh, we have that happens with us too, but I just let it go because the conversation was going so well. So we could probably like pin down a lot more, similarities. So this week, I had a subject for this week, but then I put the brakes on and switched when I ran across this crazy ass group.
Crazy ass. It's gonna be good.
It's a support group for self-taught artists, and I'm sure that it's not the only one. By self-taught, they mean scratchers, home tattooers.
Yeah.
And
we have many other words.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read just kind of a brief. I'm gonna read just a brief description. I'm reading subscribe on here. A brief description. I'm not going to talk about the specific group, but just about this idea in general. It basically says we're self-taught artists. This is a Facebook group. We believe that the home tattoo artists will tattoo people with or without the industry's approval. There just aren't enough apprenticeships to go around in the tattoo world, not to mention that not just anyone will work for free and have to pay bills and rent and so on. It's just not realistic, which really rubs me the wrong way. Right, that just shows a completely backwards mindset. Not to just throw out my opinion right on the front end, but that's just fucking stupid. We also believe that it's not up to the tattoo industry to determine who gets tattooed and who doesn't. We strongly believe that if you have a passion for art, who are you to stand in our way? There are too many apprenticeship Nazis out there. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So it goes on and on. It just basically says, with the...
I think, maybe.
Do what?
Never mind. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, it goes on and on. The popularity of tattoos nowadays, more and more people want to become artists. And only through proper education and knowledge will the home artists get better at their practice of safe tattooing methods. And they go through who should and should not join their groups, and anyone that wants to, get better at tattooing, they say should, and anyone that wants to trash home tattooers should steer clear of their group. What's so...
That's us.
Yeah, that's us.
Well, let's comment. First off, what kind of organization would even put themselves together to go like, already you're doing something that's illegal? If you're tattooing people in your house, out of your home, without any licensing, without any, like you said, without any authority, because the
tattoo Nazis are pushing you down.
You better just watch it. You're gonna have, like I said, you're already on thin ice. You're not gonna get many people that are go like, yeah, keep doing that thing. It's illegal, but we're right behind you. Mainly because I think a lot of people that started that way know it's a nightmare. It's a disaster. You don't learn anything. You're learning in like your vacuum. And just because you can watch somebody else do a tattoo, you can think you know how that's done, and you have no real cooperation with other people. Like I said, if you're not learning and you're trying to learn from like basically watching professionals, good luck. That is the worst way of learning. Yeah. And we're not talking about like the average person that's really into it, that really wants to tattoo and stuff. We understand that there's a need to it, but if you can't go through what we call a normal apprenticeship, you can't wait the time, put the time, the effort into it. where do you think, what industry do you think is going to allow you to, like, later, after learning in your home for however long, you're going to just transition to your own shop or something like that? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a definite way to never get an apprenticeship. Now, these people are making it out like that's not, like apprenticeships aren't needed. But if you ever want to work in a professional environment, you're really going to be fighting an uphill battle.
And we've talked about, there are good shops, there are great shops, there are not so good shops, and then there's horrible shops. And if you, even as a want to be artist, not want to be, just want to be artist, can't get into even one of the worst shops, well, then something's probably wrong too.
That's what I really thought was crazy, is the idea that there aren't enough apprenticeships to go around. Yeah. You know, their shops are always tattoos are more and more people are getting tattooed. There is a demand for more and more tattoo artists.
It even says in their own, whatever that bio that that is the truth. There is more demand for it. There are more people getting tattooed just because there are more people.
So it's a complete contradiction to say that there aren't enough apprenticeships to go around, but tattooing is growing so much in demand. Those two things go hand in hand. If you can't get an apprenticeship, it's probably not because there's not one available. Look at your portfolio. Look at your habits. Look at the way, look in the mirror first before you just decide that there's no one that's going to hire me. Well, why aren't you being hired? How many people have been hired in underground art in the last, say, 10 years?
Right. Over a dozen easily. Probably. I mean, said artists from other places. Just with apprenticeships alone, it's got to be at least half a dozen, at least in that department. Probably, I would guess there's been at least 20, 30 artists through our shop, which is not a huge shop, but probably more than that.
It's a small shop in a small market that is still put through a lot of artists. And
I've trained at least 5 or 6 people that are out there working today. So, I mean, hopefully that's a testament that when you get a formal apprenticeship, there is a high rate of employment. Like, I mean, we're not talking about placement because hopefully they work for you for a while. But with a good apprenticeship, you will thrive. You will find people that maybe aren't in that same style as you that you end up wanting to go in and do more work under. That's the point. You find people that are going to help you along, not just people that, like you said, you're taking advantage of. Because in this case, you're taking advantage of the situation. Like I said, if you don't want to, like you said, make some extra time in your career, whatever you do, you can still pay your bills. You can still work at a tattoo shop, but you have to find something else to pay those bills while you're apprenticing at a shop.
Well, sure. It's like going to school for anything else.
Right. And I remember going to college, and they're basically our teacher saying, you should not work. You put so much time and effort into that. That's your full time. This should be your full time. And it's the same thing. If tattooing is not your full time, it is not your love. It's not your passion, and it probably won't be your career. Yeah. Just get used to it. Yeah. There are too many people that are really good and too many people that really deserve that apprenticeship. I mean, someone that already is skirting the edges of that is never going to get into it. If you open your own shop, maybe. Good luck to you. I hope that you learn, and I hope that you can, find something in that. But trying to find people that'll help you do that, that's few and far between. That's because it's the worst idea. We've talked about it is easier to get someone that has done no tattooing, that knows nothing about it, that is a really good artist, than to try to retrain someone that's been tattooing at a shop and that just does it willy-nilly and has never apprenticed under someone. You may have picked up the machine and know how to use it, but if you have really bad habits and really disgusting, like,
there's no reason for anyone to take you on.
Style and stuff, right? And so maybe some people get a little bit of an advantage. My mom was a nurse, so I knew how to look after people, look into people's eyes, see if they've got jaundice, see if they have conditions with their legs, so that maybe they're diabetic or have bad circulation or other things to look for. Before I took classes, I've taken at least 2 or 3 bloodborne pathogen class now, and that all helped in my career. But when you're not willing to do the minimum, I don't think you're going to get very far.
And to take their side for a second, I think they have good intentions, and I hate to just start bashing them. I think that it's a group of people that feel like they've hit walls, and they're like, let's just try to help each other out.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you were if you took a different approach. If you looked at, okay, well, let's go together. Let's buy a DVD. There are plenty of instructional DVDs and stuff at this point where people are, whatever they're showing their how they prepare for tattoos, or how tattooers just have DVDs out there. Get together, watch DVDs, draw. Critique each other's drawings, work on your art. The thing that people forget is that there are two parts to tattooing. Tattooing itself is just a simple trade. It's a skill. Right. Learning how to work with a machine is no different than learning how to work with a wrench or with something else that's an actual learned skill. But what you need to focus on if you want to make a living and become a tattooer is your artwork. So focus on that in your group, and don't focus on running tattoo machines. There's nothing worse than ignorant people teaching ignorant people, and I mean that by uneducated people teaching, not ignorant. Uneducated people teaching uneducated people. Yeah. It's a complete disaster. And if you just take that group and put it to good use.
And the other thing is too, it's like there are a lot of companies that will sell you the cheapest materials and give you whatever information they think you may want to hear. But there are so many other businesses that do not cater and do not sell. They sell only to professionals. No, that's usually where you get the best equipment, the best inks, the best everything. And it's for a reason. They want people to be able to understand it, to use it, and to ask questions if they have. Like the second you step through that working out of your house and working in a real shop, you make it'll be a complete game changer for you. I promise you. It is worth the wait. I think part of the problem is like we have this thing now with with Uber and Lyft, like versus cabbies. It's like they're not taxed. Well, they don't have to pay the same insurance rates. They don't have to go through a lot of the same training and stuff when they start these companies, and that's part of the problem. I think if you consider one a taxi driver and one a professional and one basically an amateur, I think there it is. If you don't mind paying less for an amateur, and that's what you will be the rest of your life. Don't think that you're going to become this professional by doing it out of your house for years and years and years, because that is not how you learn. Like I said, you were learning in a vacuum. Even if three of the best scratchers got together, I think that they would probably, like you said, they should work on their artwork and then work on helping one of them get into a shop to help the rest of them. If that's really if that's how they feel that they need that, I think that you're gonna have to kind of revert back to these apprenticeship Nazis or tattoo Nazis. And I hate that term because it's like throwing some German anti-Semitic like somehow now that like I love what I do, and I feel like I'm a professional to a certain degree, but I don't consider, like you said, this is just honesty. And we had to learn the hard way too. We learned in some of the worst circumstances, and learned a lot more when we got in with people that knew what they were doing, and like I said, and we're actually trying to, like I said, push their work. But it's usually in that environment. Like I said, if you're not ready to make that a career, if you can't give up time to get that apprenticeship, or like you said, I would also agree that if you can't go into a shop and show people your work and someone that will latch on to you and really want you to work there, or give you suggestions on where to go, I think that may be the problem. I mean, maybe part of that is that kind of attitude too, where you think, look, I have a lot of, especially with artists, I've met several thousand now, gone to school with a bunch, and that's maybe one of the problems too, is like they already think they know it all. You are a sponge still, trust me. You learn better when someone that knows what they're doing teaches you. And if you try to learn by, like I said, this blind leading the blind, I just say good luck with it. But don't be surprised when, like you said, you're doing something illegal and the cops bust down your door because you're working on some 16-year-old, or you've had enough complaints where they come and basically arrest you, and then you're going to get some tax stuff thrown at you. Never mind, trying to make your house into a business. You'd have no license. You've been paying no taxes. Good luck with all of that. That's all I can say.
Get through all that red tape and then try to go work at a shop.
Right. That's
the thing is like, even if you think you're going to, like you said, make that make a career out of, or build this great portfolio from working at home, you have to be around other great artists. The chances of you stumbling into a group with tons of great self-taught artists is pretty slim. So think about the places where we learn. Tattoo conventions, some of the best artists in the world. You exchange more information with those. You will never make your way into a tattoo convention. Get a booth at a tattoo convention, tattooing out of your house.
I tell you, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, if you can't go to a convention, maybe shop your portfolio around to some people and see if you can get any biters. Then you may what's the worst thing? You might have to move out of town for your career. That's crazy. Yeah. You know, like I said, if you can't give up time, money, these friends of yours or whatever that you think that you can't get you into a shop, those people will not get you into a shop. You're the only person that can. Work on your work. Go and, like I said, pitch it around to some people. We've done plenty of things, and this is mainly why we do this too. It's like, it's usually for the person that's either starting on this road, already in it for the first couple of years, or someone that's just wanting a new kind of look, you know, maybe just to hear someone else talk about it for a little while. Oh, you know, we like to argue about things. I mean,
yeah, well, you know, that is the reason, because there are groups like that out there, and there are tons of bad tutorials. And the problem with being around other uneducated people is you often don't know what's good advice and what's bad advice. So instead of one person taking bad advice, you form a group of 200 people to all take the exact same bad advice because no one knows any better. And it's, you know, it was just a recipe for disaster. You're going to fail doing that. And we both, I mean, we've mentioned on this show before, both of us at some point tattooed at our houses. Yeah. This was years ago.
Horrible idea.
It was a terrible idea. And it's proven to me every time a new apprentice comes through the shop, and 6 months into their apprenticeship, I go, man, I didn't do tattoos like that 3 years into my career. Right. Because I had so many bad habits to break when I got around people that knew what they were doing. It was such an uphill battle for me to break my bad habits, learn better habits. And another thing that I found is I became instantly defensive. The more self-taught that I was, the more I had so-called figured out on my own, the more defensive I was of that bad information that I basically created on my own. It's not like I learned anything. I learned by making mistakes and finding ways around them that were never the best ways around them.
Well, you learn
but
tricks.
I defended it. I learned tricks. I didn't learn, and then suddenly you find yourself being defensive about your background, about where you came from, and then and it takes forever to to become confident enough to start taking advice or to start really looking at what people are doing. It's really going around the block to get across the street when you could.
That's a good way to put it. Absolutely. And I mean, I hope that, especially with this kind of, with Facebook and stuff like that you would have better examples, that you would have like a community. But you're still talking about, like you said in the beginning of it, this is a trade. And if you look up most trades, you don't get in easily. You get in by perseverance and hard work. Yeah. There are not many people that want to teach you everything that they know and everything that they've done in the last 20 years because you've just got an inkling that you want to be a tattoo artist. Yeah. Let me tell you, there's somebody born every day with that inkling, and it's those years that you put into it. Like I said, and it only takes it doesn't take. One of the greatest things about tattooing is that you begin to read people really well. I think that that's the truth. I've met so many other artists that have said crazy stuff like, I can guess how much he's got in his wallet, or I can guess, off the bat what he really wants when he comes in the door. And that's not always true. But just because you have to work on people, you get to read people a little better. Mm-hmm. And that goes with artists that come in the door too, that want to impress you at first, and then after a couple months you see these bad habits or whatever that they have because you don't know them very well. And that's the thing. It's like, how do you work in a shop atmosphere, and how are you going to work out with the other employees if you're basically you're learning to fast track? You just want to slip by a little bit. You don't want to learn. You just want to get that job and start tattooing on people. Well, everybody wants to do that, and that doesn't happen. What you do is you do shitty tattoos for a long time, and then you finally meet somebody that'll give you an idea why your shitty tattoo is really shitty. And then hopefully you change, right? You change needles, you change whatever. It's like, and then you hope that they have, autoclaves, or you hope that their needles are sterilized, or you hope they're, they've got some type of maticide or some kind of sterile cleaner on. You hope that they wash their hands before. Yeah. You hope that
they don't make their kids lunch sandwich for lunch on the same countertop,
table, right? Or they, they don't, take a you know, I don't know how to describe what are the worst case scenarios. And the thing is that if you feel like you can do that, what happens a lot of these times, you become this mobile tattooist. You're working in bathrooms, you're working in whatever people's houses and stuff like that.
Working on the worst possible
You're working
clientele.
at tattoo parties, which are also illegal. So,
Tattoo
like I said,
parties,
I just tattooed a Bartlett police officer not long ago, and they busted a guy in Bartlett because they'd had complaints. He had been tattooing people, but he was also piercing people. Didn't know how to pierce, didn't know how to tattoo. But apparently, if you pierce a 16-year-old's nipples, you go to jail. So good luck with that. Again, just watch out, man. 18 to tattoo. We got to have a license. We have to have all kinds of stuff. Copy of everybody's stuff. Signature, their information, because they can sue you for anything. And don't be surprised when a civil suit comes up. It may not be a cop coming in the door, but anybody can sue you for anything. And if you're a minor and you're not old enough to be doing it anyway, they can sue your parents. So you may want to talk to them about this easy road too. You know,
that is absolutely true. You know that, and the funny thing is like you could be the greatest home tattooer in the world, and you could invest all of the money that you can in sterilization, and you could have gone through every online bloodborne pathogens courses available, and you let one person go off and get a staph infection, not from you. Right. Just let them get tattooed by you and then get sick from something in the next 6 months or a year.
Maybe they got a marmot at their house or something.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be your fault. It's just, hey, where could this come from? Well, I did get tattooed at that guy's house a few months back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, that was definitely what it was. You got tattooed at someone's house.
Especially, that's the first thing a doctor's going to tell people. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, they can easily go like, oh, it's got to be whatever they did there, right? It's got to be the needle. It's got to be the damage to it.
You would think.
It's probably not your care. You didn't take. You took perfect care of it, didn't you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you had.
I'm just saying that
you had the foresight to go get tattooed at somebody's house. Why wouldn't you take great care of your tattoo?
That's a real problem. You just don't know, and we don't know. We have to take all these precautions, and we still don't know. But we get checked by the health department 4 times a year. Like I said, we have to pay mega taxes on everything. We have to keep a clean ship. We have to have licenses,
and all that. That's for good reason. I know we throw out it's illegal, like it means everything, and some things I know are illegal that probably shouldn't be, but that's illegal with good reason.
Right.
It should be illegal,
right? And because you don't have probably the wherewithal to maybe check IDs or make sure that these people know how to take care of stuff. And probably, like in our shop, we like to drink on, at our podcast, but there's no drinking, no alcohol, no drugs, no nothing. You cannot let people come in and be altered in any way and think that they're going to have a healthy tattoo when they walk out the door too, Yeah. So maybe we're wandering off subject.
But Emily, my wife, made a good point whenever I brought this up. She said that she was like, it would be the same as like a shade tree electrician saying like, who are you to teach me how electricity works? Right. Why do I need to go through your 5-year apprenticeship program? I can figure out electricity. Well, yeah, you can kill yourself, burn down a few houses. You'll probably figure it out eventually.
Yeah, it's definitely, most people, they have this idea that there are very few things in the art world where you can kind of make your career now, and it's like there are fewer. I mean, that's just, if you go to art school, you have to find that niche in life. Tattooing seems to be one that people want to instantly gravitate towards. We have talked about all the dangers, like the one-on-one scenarios where you have to work on people. They're actually picking the design. You're drawing toward to them. If you're not into that, if you don't have that mental capacity, if you don't have the wherewithal, you're going to find out within 3, 4, 5 years. Please don't make it under the guise that you're going to learn at your house and do all these fucked up tattoos that you don't know what you're doing, and then learn in about 3 years you don't want to do it anymore. Especially if you've already it's easy to say, oh well, it's we still have to pay bills, we have to do all this stuff to get into an apprenticeship, and everybody understands that. That's the minimum requirement. Time and effort. Yeah. Maybe somebody else will help you in their career. In most of our apprenticeships, like our apprenticeship is a year. Like if you can't rearrange your life and get a year like for you, well, something's wrong too, man. You're trapped in whatever grind you think you're in. Yeah. You know, if that doesn't make you happy, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
It doesn't make, if it makes you enough money to all of a sudden get this idea. Well, shit. I would put that back into traveling to a tattoo shop that will absolutely make it worth your while to work there. I mean, again, work on your art. Buy art supplies. Use whatever money you can and get ahead that way before you start deciding, oh, I really want to do this. Put some monetary commitment into it. Put some time into it besides, the apprenticeship, and then find one. Yeah. They're out there.
I think adopting that attitude, that's what really rubbed me the wrong way, as the apprenticeship Nazi term, or that there's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, in this circumstance, there's just not. I mean, it's not something that you can play around with. And I know we've beat this to death, and we're ranting. This has been just probably a 30-minute rant at this point.
No, I like
but
it.
But it's just such a ridiculous idea that this group of people can get together and make nice tattoos out of their houses and have a nice clientele that comes back and knocks on their front door over and over, and it's like, good healthy people that they're, what are they going to do? Advertise that they are doing the fantastic tattoos out of their house. There's just no way that this works. Right. There's no way that this works.
Right. I mean, we have this, not problem, but I mean, the shops that have like signs out that are like $15 names. Let me tell you what you get for $15. Just remind yourself, what is the minimum amount of work someone can do on you? That is what you're getting. Whatever that is, because that is it. That's the minimum. So if that's how you want your life to be, I want the minimum. You'll get that. Yeah. You'll get it every time. You'll get that $15, and you'll be so happy because you got to put a name on somebody. Yeah. But I mean, do that for 20 years, and then still say you're happy.
Right. Yeah. Like, how many times I made $15?
Yeah. I'm just saying that's
thousands of tiny names.
I was just watching Game of Thrones the other day, and they had the new episodes, and they had this scene where the dude's trying to cook a rabbit, but he's just got it on a steak and over a fire, hair and all, just catches on fire. And she asked him, "It's like, have you ever cooked rabbit?" It's like, no. Ever? No. You can tell because he's stomping it out with his foot and stuff. It's like, he didn't even take the skin off. So it's like, you can learn how to cook that rabbit the hard way. And then it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, yeah. Take the hair off your rabbit.
Take the hair off that rabbit. That's a start.
That's a tip of the iceberg.
That's a tip of the, and so hopefully we're not, I don't want to say like, I hate the word tattoo Nazis, like somehow like I've got this Gestapo and these boots and whatever. But I mean, only because we've been there. That was 25 years ago, and you don't want to live that road. You don't want to go up it. It's not worth it, man.
It's no good. Focus on your drawing. Focus on your artwork.
Get that group together. Like you said, get that group together. Change the name to say, we want to be good tattoo artists, and then make Artist Circle. Yeah. We're going to work on our artwork.
I don't know how many shows we've done on apprenticeships, building portfolios, things like that, but you could probably make a group off of Fireside Tat's apprenticeship episodes at this point, and sit down and have and make notes and critique each other's portfolios and get into a good shop.
Yeah, and look, especially we like to answer questions. When people send us questions, they assume that they're either in a shop or about to enter a shop or something like that. Yeah. We don't sit there and go like, wait a minute, who is this? Well, so we give information freely. If someone comes into my shop and I know that something's fucked up or whatever, I still help with machines or whatever. Only because I don't want, like I said, if there's any way we can stop this craziness, like if you don't know how to sterilize your equipment, if you're running around doing crazy shit, if you're reusing needles, if you don't know what a sterilizer is, there is a problem. We've got a problem already.
My God, if you could have seen that. I went down the rabbit hole on this forum that I found that on today, and you should have seen the talk about sterilizing your machines in ultrasonics and autoclaves and,
it's perfect.
And all
Stick
of these,
it right in there.
all this professional advice on how to sterilize your machine. And I thought, my God, I'm so happy that we do this podcast.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
I remember, this is an old story, but Memphis related, where there was an artist here that was doing the same thing on the side, tried to go to professional artists, tried to get some help, and they end up, in the end, selling a mink. all watered down. They were selling them equipment all fucked up, the cheapest shit you could get, and they were basically doubling the price. They were just getting it out of a catalog and giving it to them, saying they had it for whatever.
Yeah.
And there were artists that were, even in Memphis that would pick up buy these cheap ass like tattoo machines, power units, and go to other countries and sell them. I can't even there is a market for that. There is a market to giving the cheapest and the crappiest equipment to people that will buy it. And if you want to be on that end, like I said, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get this cheapo revolution that everyone's like, "Oh, you're doing great, man. Yeah, what you need is this." And that's what it is. You'll buy into whatever anyone tells you because you don't know the difference.
You don't know the difference. Yeah, exactly. There's, Scott and I were looking at Alibaba for some stuff, which is like, how do you describe Alibaba? It's like buying things
Google
in bulk.
overseas.
It's like Google overseas, but for
Yahoo,
buying a lot in bulk and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you can buy tattoo machines. God, we saw them for like $5-10 a piece if you bought enough of them.
Yeah,
That's
I've heard
incredible,
I've heard some things overseas too, where you can just buy anything off of Alibaba, like even like fake products and stuff like that, like things that aren't supposed to be really sold. They have these like cheapo Chinese like watches that were basically like the new iWatch, but they weren't. They were like just a black tooth like connected phone or whatever. You had to have it. It didn't even work on Apple or any of that stuff too. So it was just like, wow, good luck with that. I don't know. We're wandering again.
Yeah, still.
So in the end, work on your artwork
Work
first.
on your artwork. I think that if you take nothing else from this,
There is a tattoo shop on every corner. How can you not get in one?
And the one true statement those people made was that tattooing is growing exponentially at this point. We are in like the golden age of tattooing right now. It'll never grow at this pace probably again. If you can't find a shop looking for an apprentice, it's not that there are no jobs available. It is that something is wrong with your portfolio. Something is wrong with your attitude. Something is wrong with your drive, your dedication.
Right.
You can't quit after the first shop. Not every shop's looking for an apprentice, but I guarantee you'll find one that is.
And then ask who is. I mean, ask if they know someone. Ask, especially if they like you work. If they will be like, call back in the summer, call back at the beginning. They'll tell you if they really like your work. If they like your work and they want to get into a good shop, they will tell you other shops to go to.
Man, I follow shops.
Ask suggestions.
I follow shops on Instagram, high end, nice shops with artists that I'd love to work around that are constantly posting, "Hey, we're hiring, send portfolios to this, to that." Now, sometimes they're looking for established artists, sometimes they're not. But if they're posting it on Instagram,
because what normally happens
there's a demand.
is after about 5-7 years, most tattooists, they want to travel, they want to go to other places, they want to go to conventions, they want to go overseas, they want to do something else, and that is not unusual. That's what happens, and that's why how you can't find one and whatever, and especially if you're not in a major city, I completely understand. Get to one. Just save enough money. Get the hell out of wherever. If there's no one tattooing in your community, find one that is. Find ones that's responds to you, and that'll make it worth your while. It's how you can't find a city that doesn't have an apprenticeship. I'll be damned. I don't know.
There's just no way. You're just not. You're either not putting in the effort or you're.
We just hired one.
That's right. I haven't seen him yet.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah. I met him, but I haven't seen any work yet.
No, it's good. Mostly an illustrator, trained in graphic design and illustration. Has a degree.
Awesome.
Apparently, was big into roller derby for a while.
Oh, roller derby.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We should podcast about it.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
How to break the apprentice will be our next.
We should do some.
No, but we just like I said, we just hired one. What the fuck? Can't you?
Yeah. Shit. That's our third apprentice in probably 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right at almost 5.5.
Yeah. And the reason being that even we're a shop that mostly did custom work, mostly appointment based, but the demand has risen to such a point that any business, including ours, looked at it and said, okay, someone needs to be able to do tattoos today.
Right.
We need people that can do that because there's a demand for it, and we can't just constantly turn people out of the door because you don't have time for a month.
That means walk-ins. Every walk-in. We do not have time. We cannot do walk-ins. We never have enough time.
But the shop realized that we needed.
We have to have walk-in space, right? Yeah. There's a lot of tourists. There are a lot of people that come in. They come in the community. They just want something small. Yeah. And sometimes, like last week, there were 3 and 4 women that wanted the same tattoo. You need someone that can tattoo 3 exactly the same tattoos, not real big, probably business card size, and get them done. They're all tight and look the same. And I can't do that on a Saturday, you know?
Yep, exactly. So there are jobs out there. Keep
Oh
looking.
man, there's
Don't join the Facebook group.
yeah.
Find an
I
apprenticeship.
mean, I say good luck, but you will learn. It will only take you, 2 or 3 years. You will learn. You'll learn that this is not the road.
That was a bad move. Yeah.
And then hopefully you get out of it. Hopefully before that.
You burn every photo or delete every digital photo you ever took and say, here's some of my drawings. I'd love to get an apprenticeship. I've never actually held a tattoo machine. No.
Never. Good luck with that.
Memorize that. Say that in the mirror.
I'm
I've never
telling
actually
you,
tattooed. No.
Still, like I said, I would rather teach someone than to reteach someone who thinks they know everything.
Oh yeah,
my
God, it's the worst thing in the world. This was episode 56 of Fireside Tats.
In the books.
We've run it into the ground.
No, I think it was good,
we
though.
made our point.
If you have a comment,
please send us some questions and subscribe to us on YouTube and on iTunes and like us on Facebook, Fireside Tats. We are firesidetats.com. You can sign up for our mailing list. We're also the Fireside Tats page is going to be the Tattoo Improvement Network, and it's going to house Fireside Tats. It's going to house tattoo technique videos.
Right.
It's going to house a blog.
got
I say going to. It's actually doing a lot of that already. Where it's just it's a process, man. Digital stuff is like it's crazy. Luckily, we have Scott who has some sense about that stuff. But man, what a process it's been.
Yeah, I met his parents last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good.
Like us, 2 thumbs up.
Thanks, guys. Episode 56 is in the books.